Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, where I get the chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas.
Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. I am George Socha, Senior Vice President, Brand Awareness at Reveal. Each Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, I host an episode of eDiscovery Leaders Live, where I get the chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas. Past episodes are available on the Reveal website. Go to revealdata.com, select resources, then select eDiscovery Leaders Live. My guest this week is Lisa Burton. Lisa is CEO of Legal Data Warehouse. She's an award-winning pioneer of legal technology, recognized as being instrumental in creating de facto standards within the industry over 25 years. Lisa's ability to bridge the gap between technologists and legal compliance practitioners has enabled her to lead teams of experts in delivering intelligent, effective solutions to regulators, law firms, and FTSE 100 clients in responding to regulatory and corporate investigations, contentious and non-contentious legal matters. Lisa has an LLB from University of London, Holborn School of Law. Lisa, welcome. Glad you could join us today. Okay, we have you on mute, Lisa. We need to turn off the mute. And there we go.
Sorry, I thought that was going to be done on your end.
Yes, and once again, welcome. I'd like to start out today by talking a little bit about what you are doing. And first, how you got to where you are, and then what you're doing today, because I think it's both an interesting story and a new stage in your career.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Well, at the moment, which is really exciting, after, as you said in my introductory paragraph, after 25 years in the industry, I have been asked in the last couple of years to, when am I going to form something new? So we put together Legal Data Workspace. It's been operational for about 18 months, but it was only really at the beginning of 2021 that I was very fortunate to really bring it together. So we have a team of, Big Four advisory gurus. So, for example, our chairman, Tony Cooper, is an ex-Deloitte partner who ran all of British Telecom's digital transformation. We have an advisory board consisting of, the top, most highly respected people within the IT and security industry, along with judges and partners from top 100 law firms. We have an AI expert who's just sold a law firm into one of the Big Four consultancies. And I think the excitement around what we're doing now, George, is it's the brain's trust, if you like, of people who've seen, when I started, I literally took truckloads of paper and digitized paper, and we understand, a lot about data in terms of the legal defensibility, the integrity, the authenticity. And so in a world where, data is just exponentially produced, I think it's getting shorter, isn't it? But every 2 years we produce all of the world's data that ever existed, and that's getting shorter, along with evergreen platforms like Office 365 and GDPR regulation. I think, there's been an awful lot of people that have come into the market from a cybersecurity aspect or a regulatory aspect, a regulatory compliance aspect. but I do think that those of us who are true legal technologists, who understand, you know, the EDRM and who understand chain of custody, legal defensibility, that is a very special skill set that I think now the timing for that skill set to be brought to bear, if you like, is perfect.
So you've assembled a strong bench. You're
Yes.
taking these people and pointing them in what direction? What are they doing? What services are you offering?
So we are offering a number of products. One is what we're calling a 90-day sprint, or 30, 60, 90-day sprint, depending on where the client is. So our sort of target market really are mid to upper tier corporate clients. That's where we're sitting perfectly in terms of our skill set and our breadth of knowledge and expertise. And because so many of our corporate clients work in very siloed operational states, so you have, you know, legal counsel and the legal team internally, you have IT, you have compliance, you have risk and audit. Those activities, obviously security is a huge issue, and so they tend to operate very much in a siloed way, and normally risk is managed through, you know, spreadsheets, to be honest. So we have found some award-winning AI technology to help our clients put in an AI-driven legal data framework as part of a managed service offering, and then supplementing that as a reactive ability to support our clients. We're happily working with you and Reveal, and really excited that Brainspace and Next LP is part of that offering, to support the client when things go wrong. Because, you know, as much as I know that C-suites have silver bullets presented to them in the form of technology, you know, all day long, every day. And we believe that the people in the process are as important. And I think it's borne out by the fact that something like 80% of cyber breaches are coming from inside a threat. So our platform that we've identified for the proactive, you know, legal framework, if you like, that covers privacy, security, legal, cyber, that holistic framework, if you like, it simplifies and it stops a lot of the you know, duplicity across those siloed teams that very often exist at the moment. And it certainly does away with Excel spreadsheets, George. However, just getting back to Reveal, when something goes wrong, because invariably it will go wrong, you know, cyber breaches will happen, corporate investigations will happen, litigation will happen. We will be working with, you know, a data diagnostics platform such as Reveal to provide those services when needed. We have a fantastic set of partners, strategic partners, including insurance specialists. So yesterday, actually, I was with a corporate client who actually can't get cyber insurance at the moment because their data risk landscape is just so unknown, so unquantified. You know, we are brought in as experts to help map all of that, get them to a point where they understand what that risk looks like, and then help them remediate the risk with as I say, a managed service offering. So it's exciting. We're really excited.
That sounds very exciting. So you've pulled together this bench strength. You are working with, you know, major organizations, helping them both on the proactive side and reactive disclosure, e-discovery, and the like, leaning heavily on technology to help you. And yet, you are a self-professed tech skeptic.
I am.
So tell me how that all works. How can you be a tech skeptic and lean hard on tech to help you get where you need to be?
So yeah, I'm a tech skeptic because having done law, I also did my training back in the day when I learned things like C++ coding language. I worked in very early databases on massive cases like the Lloyd's name cases, where we crunched data and numbers in FoxPro, believe it or not. That's showing my age. So, you know, I love technology. I'm a bit of a quiet woolly hatter, as my kids call me. But I do think that, you know, technology has to work. If it's that combination of knowing what to look for, asking the right questions, because until you put technology into a live use case, you know, the technology only works as much as the people in the process mold it. And so I get asked to look at a lot of technology stacks, and I rule them out pretty much instantly because they miss fundamental parts. They've missed out whole chunks around, you know, I saw one recently where, you know, tags get applied to all of the data. And, you know, my question was, well, how does the metadata get affected? And they couldn't answer that question. And that for me is fundamental, because, you know, if you end up in a court, which hopefully you don't, you settle long before then, you need to be able to go back through your decision tree as it relates to your data and what you did with your data to be able to answer legal questions and provide robust answers. So that's the skeptical side of me. However, because I'm very lucky and I do get presented with some great technology, occasionally, there's one that really floats my boat, or two. So, for example, I mean, I think I gave you the example of BrainSpace that I used a few years ago, and I loved BrainSpace. I thought it was
so you gave that example to me when we were talking earlier, but of course our audience hasn't had a chance to hear that. Why don't you go over that one again?
Sure. So this was a very large corporate entity who had a third party affiliated to them in I think it was South America. So high, you know, bribery and corruption risk there, I guess. At the time, definitely there was. This is a couple of years ago now, and the client had this affiliated third party, and the affiliated third party were making commission payments rather of 1 million to another third party that they did not know anything about who they were. They just saw these £1 million going out of the account every month. And so they asked us if we could help them, you know, identify whether these were legitimate payments or whether there was something untoward going on. So we took one guy's email inbox, the main sort of protagonist in South America, and using BrainSpace, we typed in, this was to demonstrate to the client, this is in the demo to the client, we type in the word bribery and up come two words, well, one word and a phrase. The one word was chunky and the phrase was Mexican Tea Party. So within 30 minutes of starting a demonstration to the general counsel and members of his legal team, we got to the absolute core of the issue.
And of course, these are phrases that come first to mind when you think of anti-money laundering, right?
Well, exactly. I mean,
yeah.
who's going to think keywords up like that? I mean, no way. It's you can't possibly do that. So, you know, it could have been a very costly, lengthy, long exercise to do that on a linear, you know, e-discovery basis. But using technologies like BrainSpace, we were able to get to the core of the issue incredibly quickly. And not only that, we were able to prove that the payments were in fact legitimate. Because when you find keywords like chunky and Mexican Tea Party, we all thought, uh-oh, they were legit. But it was a great example, and I loved that. And there was there's lots of great examples actually of clever technology. So we're very fortunate. Our legal framework platform is an award-winning platform that I just love. It's so intelligently put together. So yeah. So I hope that answers your question on my skepticism, George.
I think so. And another phrase you've used is to describe the likes of us as e-discoveryists.
Yes.
And What do you mean by that, and where do we fit in the scheme of things?
Well, I think this goes back to my early point in the introduction. I think, when I started my career 25 years ago, I was at a law firm. I wanted to go to the bar. I joined the law firm IT board where we rolled out IBM AS400s, and then was headhunted actually to go to a provider in the first instance. And back in those days, I really worried that I was screwing up a legal career. What was I doing? I mean, e-discovery in those days was kind of an extension of the print room, right? Scanning and coding. But as we've evolved, as that skill set, that knowledge I've always described myself as a translator between the technologists and the lawyers, because normally the language is entirely different and they look at each other normally with horror, even now sometimes. That skill set, I believe, has become very unique because we understand, the legal aspects of discovery, in whatever jurisdiction you might be in, but because everything we're discovering is digitized and there's raths of it, that e-discoverist's role, I think, will come into its own it already has, evidenced by all the PE rounds that go on with all the e-discovery providers that I've worked with over the last 10 years. But I think now in particular, it's going to get bigger, and I think we will have a much more important role to play as e-discoverists and legal technologists.
So put on your hat, if you will, right now. Look into your murky crystal ball through cataract eyes, because none of us really know what the future brings. And describe what you think the future will look like for the e-discoveryists amongst us.
I think to be slightly controversial, but I'm going to say I think law firms. I think we have a great opportunity, and I think the next 5 to 10 years we will grow in number. I mean, at the moment, I still feel true e-discoverists are still quite a small number. Actually, very specialist skills. I think law firms, certainly in the UK and Europe to some extent, are a little bit behind the curve. I think the corporates are having to deal, any corporate, no matter what vertical you're in, you have to become a data expert, right? And a technology expert to a large extent. And so I think that law firms are behind the curve. I think the corporates are going to have to, really work out how to get their arms around some of their data risk issues across security, privacy, and legal. And I think that for e-discoverists, that's where we will shine in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think, again, it's having that skill set, that complementary skill set of knowing what technology can do and should do, but being able to apply that into a business environment, which is all around business risk, okay? And that's where I think the step change has occurred. We're not just back-end support people anymore, or even providers. We are experts in our field, and we have a voice. And I think, excuse me, our voice will get bigger as we, as the corporates that I'm working with really struggle. We will have a bigger role to play.
You must get asked by folks a little out of school or just starting in their professional careers, how can I be you? How can I get to where you are? What response do you give to, or responses do you give to folks who ask questions like that?
It's interesting because I'm really, for me, I lament the fact that there are still few women really in tech. I do hope and believe that to a large extent, professional examinations to become and qualify as a lawyer now have more of a focus, if you like, on the technology side of being a lawyer, because you have to understand data and you have to get a basic grasp of that. I just think, I think first of all, this market evolved during my career life. This wasn't really a thing when I started out. It happened happily for all of us, and thank you, led by you as well, George, to a very large extent with the EDRM back in the day. I would like to say, if you're interested in law and you're interested in technology, I think it's a really winning combination. Because you can, for me, I love law as well. I'm passionate about law, and I think that, it's a great. Some of the cases I've worked on have been absolutely fascinating. I've done a lot of court work as well, and if you love that and you get the buzz from being a lawyer, but you really want to sharpen your technology skills to become an expert in the field, I think you can either become a lawyer sharpened with technology skills, or I think you can become a legal technologist with a very clear understanding of the law and how the law works, but really become that technology guru, if you like, within that space. So I would go to anyone interested, stick to your guns, get your qualifications, know which camp you want to be in more, either legal practitioner or more of an e-discoverist, legal technologist. And if it's the latter, then happy days. Let's grow the band.
And if they would hope to, if you will, grow the band with you, should they? Are you welcoming people to reach out to you? Are you looking to expand your organization?
We are indeed. We have, there are people that I've known in the market for a long time. And, my old team, who I still absolutely respect massively and love, are all at GT still. So yeah, I'm very fortunate in that I've got some great relationships in the market over the years. And there are people that I highly respect. And, there's, if I said there was a dream team sort of identified waiting in the wings, that they're there. Having said that, yeah, we have a full, business plan over the next 3 to 5 years, and we're looking forward to fulfilling that plan. So yes, anyone who wants to have a chat. And also I do mentoring. I mean, I've mentored a young general counsel who's a woman with a young baby, So if somebody's unsure about their career or wants some help, I'm really happy to have chats and general conversations.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Lisa. Lisa Burton is CEO, Legal Data Workspace. Look to see great things coming from them.
Thank you.
And there goes my phone. It had to happen sooner or later. I am George Socha. This has been eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. Thank you for joining us all today, and please join us again next Friday, May 7th. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, George. Bye for now.
And now I let the dog out, the recording stops.